Paint Experiments by Andrea Cubis. So for this, I wanted to try out different types of paper. This is an inside of a taco box from one of those taco kits. This piece is the Canson mixed media paper that I happen to have. This is your regular printer paper that you get from the printer. This one is Strathmore watercolor cold press paper, and this last one is lined paper. I wanted to show artist paper right beside regular paper, right beside reusable paper. For my first paint experiment, I made some strong coffee and grabbed a Q-tip. Then I painted a square using the coffee on each page to see how it reacted to the page, and I labeled it. You'll see I also started to label the next set of paints that I was going to experiment on these pages. So then I proceeded to do the same thing. I used purple cabbage, turmeric, and green tea. I did multiple layers on the bottom of each square and left single layers at the top so I could use different values of that same paint. So here's the result of the inside of the taco box. I found for three of them, the coffee, the cabbage, and the green tea, that the water did not want to absorb into the coating on the taco box. The turmeric did a very good job of just settling on top. The Canson mixed media paper did much better. I found it absorbed the colors. Just ignore the coffee spill. I know, irony of all ironies. But generally, I really liked how the Canson paper worked with the different colors. Overall, I was actually really impressed with the printer paper when it came to showing the color. I did notice that the turmeric had a more orangey color on the printer paper. I also noticed, as I've seen before on printer paper, that it started to crinkle when the moisture was added to it. Not surprising, the Strathmore watercolor cold press paper also did a great job. It showed the colors quite nicely, very much like the Canson mixed media paper. Both of these papers are heavier duty, so they didn't crinkle nearly as much as the other papers when the water was added. Lastly was the lined paper. I was actually impressed at how well most of the colors showed up on it. The downside, and you can kind of see it, where the lines are, it would draw the paint up the lines, and the ink from the lines would start to mix in with the paints. So that would be one downside that using lined paper would bring. And again, like the printer paper, it started to crinkle up quite a bit. But overall, I was impressed at how well the color stayed. So this is just kind of the beginning of the kind of experiments I want you guys to do. As you'll note, I only used one kind of brush, the Q-tip. I would like you guys to try at least two different ones. Think outside the box. Think of things that are available to you all around your house. The big trick with this challenge, though, is to not go into your art supplies. So admittedly, I used two art papers in this experiment, mainly just because I was curious how non-art papers would react in comparison to an actual art paper. And don't get me wrong, there is a quality difference, and yes, given the choice, I would use the art paper. But in this experiment, I want you guys to look outside the box and look at things that are not meant for painting and see what we can come up with. Maybe if I had taken some of that printer paper and done a couple layers of it and wetted them together and made a thicker paper with them, maybe that would have worked better. Or maybe newsprint would have worked better. Or maybe some cardboard, not a taco box, right? Maybe would have worked better. These are the kinds of experiments I want you guys to figure out and do this week. And that way we can pull them all together on Thursday and you guys can share. And you will then use this information to create a painting. So this is going to be valuable information. Please don't miss our meeting on Thursday. Hope to see you guys all there.